Executive search is about understanding company's culture, its needs, its leadership needs, and matching that with the executive, and thinking globally, thinking borderless in our approach. When you find that match, the chemistry can be amazing. It unlocks the potential for the individual and indeed the company itself. So that insight and knowledge and relationships that we bring and build are really important, and is what interests me on a daily basis. I grew up in a family of 5. Education was bread and butter in our house. It was all we talked about, and the pressure was on to perform well. Both my parents were keen educationalists themselves. They wanted us to be the best we could be, and always we were brought up to feel that education was the unlocking of everything. It gave you freedom. I was always going to do business and commerce specifically. I was inspired by my grandfather, who had returned to NUIG UCG to study commerce at night and subsequently did his accountancy after he left the army. My older siblings, Fiona and Angus, were both doctors. It was hard graft, and I thought this was possibly not for me, and chose accountancy instead. I loved commerce from the beginning. Many of my girlfriends did engineering actually in UCG, we had a really strong maths teacher from our school in St. Paul's in Upthorard. But my commerce class were wonderful, and I sat at the back with a number of them that came first and second and third in the class, one of whom turned out to be my husband. The move to Dublin was always on the cards. That's where we were all destined to conduct our next stage of our studies or our accountancy apprenticeship. I chose to go into accountancy straight after university. A lot of the Galway crew decided to do the MAC and studied in Smurfit School of Business. Frequent trips to the novitiate were had, and I remember those journeys very well indeed. After I finished my accountancy studies, which was always a platform to get into business and have a business, I was fortunate to meet a number of the partners in Merck and really was impressed with the business they'd created some 20 years previously. Merck was a pioneer in what it was doing in executive search, both here in Ireland and overseas, and it felt a very natural fit from the beginning. Merck Partners is part of the largest executive search firm globally, IIC Partners. I'm now fortunate enough to chair that organisation. And I feel Irish people on an international stage have a lot to bring. We're diplomatic, we're able to build great relationships and solve issues in a systematic and thorough way. Darren and I got married in 2002, and part of the day was getting pictures in the quad in UCG, and we travelled back to the university on the day to capture those images because it had been such a significant place for both of us in both of our lives. We now have 4 children together. We're raising them as dubs, but with one eye to the west. It's wonderful to literally get in the car and in 2 hours we're in Galway. We hope we're raising the children in the same manner as our parents did, with a real appreciation of education and what that means for your life. And who knows, perhaps they'll end up in Galway like we did.